Hey everybody, my name is Sam. This is Bolt from the Blue Tarot. Today, we have a tarot card reading for you. Let's see what's up. Clear quartz. Well, would you look at that? Your health, wealth, and progress are favored. Is some part of your life out of balance? Is it chaotic and out of control? New projects started now will go well. Return to your natural state of balance, power, and glory. Work towards regaining balance in those parts of your life that you can control. Release stress or anxiety about that which you cannot control. Rename optimistic. Remain optimistic. Every area of my life is perfect balance. Yeah. I think there's something here about like the optimism part is what I'm picking up on. Renaming yourself optimistic when perhaps you haven't thought of yourself that way in the past. Or maybe you think of optimism as unrealistic, like an unrealistic viewpoint, because it doesn't take into account the negative. And actually, we're bombarded with a lot more negative than we are positive by our society. And to remain personally optimistic is actually restoring balance. And when we go through big changes where we're trying to relearn how to be a human, to become closer to what we would like to be or aspire to be, sometimes we have to make these overcorrections. But that's okay, right? That's actually encouraged. We need to know what it feels like to be radically optimistic, because that is actually closer to a correct perception of reality. And then we can attune that as necessary. But especially if you've been, on the whole, pessimistic, or, what a cynic would call realistic, right? But actually has quite a pessimistic slant, then you may feel like you're putting on a mask when you start to view things as very optimistic. And really, you're teaching yourself a new way to be. We've talked about the clear quartz crystal on this channel before, but it is, like most crystals, have some sort of chakra alignment. They have some sort of particular skill or attributes to them. But the clear quartz is radically reprogrammable. It's like you can teach clear quartz to be anything. It's the ultimate healer and the ultimate adapter. And on a spiritual journey, they are in essence the same thing. You can't heal without being adaptive. And sometimes, no, I mean, very, very often on the spiritual path, you can't, what did I say already? Heal without being adaptive. You can't adapt without healing. Like, you can't adapt to the lifestyle you want to live without healing what has been holding you back from living that lifestyle. Otherwise, you'd be in it, right? And this is what I think the optimism is suggesting here. can always fine-tune it later. Don't be afraid to make an overcorrection, especially when it's for the more optimistic, that it truly can't hurt. You have enough experience to know, like to see people who are trying to take advantage of you for what they are, especially if you're used to that more cynical perspective. Trust that, you will be able to make this overcorrection without skewing your judgment, is what I'm trying to say. You're safe to do this. That was quite a bit on clear quartz, huh? I'm going to shuffle on into the Epics of Hind. So this is a deck of stories from the Indian subcontinent and from the Hindu tradition. Ooh, Ilvala's hatred. Ilvala's hatred. Take a look at that. Wowee. Put that there. Let's see what our book has to say about this. Ilvala. Ilvala's hatred. Ilvala and Vatapi were two demon brothers. Ilvala knew the secret of bringing the dead back to life. Vatapi had the power to transform himself into any living being. Ilvala once hosted a great sage so that he could ask him for a boon. When the sage refused, Ilvala developed a deep hatred for all sages, hermits, and wise men. Because of this, the brothers would invite sages to their house and kill them. Uh-oh. Watch out, sages in the audience. When sages visited them, Vatapi would disguise himself as a goat, and Ilvala would serve the goat's meat to them. Once the sages had eaten, Ilvala would call out to his brother and bring him back to life. Vatapi would then tear out the stomachs of the sages from within them and emerge unharmed. Wow. Their heinous acts continued for a while until the two brothers invited sage Agasthyar. Before Ilvala could call out to Vatapi, the sage digested him quickly and then incinerated Ilvala through the powers of his meditation. Damn. What a story. Some questions to ask yourself. Is there anyone or anything that you hate? Why do you hate this person or thing? What can you do to release yourself of this hatred? Actions to take. This one's funny. Eat only home-cooked meals for the next few weeks. That's a good sense of humor. I appreciate that. Okay, here's some messages from the card. You can only hate someone else if you don't love yourself enough. Self-love leaves no room for hatred towards others. You can come back from hatred as soon as you choose to do so. You are worth so much more than being a vessel for hate. I really like that last one. Yeah. There might be this feeling that, like, this is just the way I am because of what's happened to me, or because this is the way my family is. Really big because of what's happened to me. Like, Sam, you don't get it, and I don't. I have not lived your life. Some life paths are extraordinarily difficult. But we can choose a new path. You are infinitely programmable and reprogrammable. You are infinitely adaptable. You are the clear quartz. You are not Ilvalya. You are this beautiful, radiant vessel, and you can choose what fills it. Even if you feel like in the past the vessel has been filled for you. That's how I often, that's how I imagine my own hatred, right? Like someone else is making me feel this, like they've poured it into me. And it's not my fault, I'm just expressing it. I deeply hate, right? It's just a mode of being that gives birth to it, and we can choose different modes of being. That's what clear quartz is here to remind us of. At any time, we might still be in the same circumstances, but I mean, that's what brought me to this point. I was just in this moment of like, it has just been one unlucky thing after another for me, and feeling like my life was this series of negative events, and feeling very justified and feeling like truly like deep resentment for it. And it was just like one thing too far. And when I look back at that point, it could have been a real tipping point, one way or the other. But what I decided was, no, you know what? I'm done with this. Like, I'm done with this bullshit. From now on, I'm the luckiest person I know. Things are going to go so well for me. And I stopped allowing. I became more aware of who was brainwashing me to think what. And I realized that if I didn't brainwash myself, if I didn't choose my own patterns of thinking and belief, they would be chosen for me. Someone else will happily brainwash you. Happily. But you don't want your life to serve their ends. You want it to serve yours. And even if this new mode of being, even if you feel like it's less realistic, just try it on for size. Try it on like a new pair of clothes, and it might feel strange at first, but after a while you realize like, oh, this is the style that's always suited me. I never tried it on. I never wore it out of the store. Yeah. Okay, let's hop into some more cards. What a starting energy. There's so much potential here, guys. Like, this is the moment when your life can change for the better forever. And it's regardless of circumstances. It won't feel that way at first, but you'll get to that point. And that's freedom. That's absolute, complete, blissful freedom. And no one can take it away from you. Okay. Spirit, tell us a story, please, that is for our highest good. What have we got going on? Earth. We've got Earth coming out again, guys. Look at that fertile soil. Girdle of Venus. Aridity. This lizard always looks like it's doing a little half smile to me. Happy lizard. It's like the aridity suits me just fine. Keep going. Mercury. Hermes, Mercurius, putting on his winged sandals. The messenger. Do more. Mystic Cross. Okay, that's it for the Oracle of Destiny. So this process of unmaking yourself and becoming something new. What I'm getting is like you might see, what you might see is a lack of possibilities. You may see like a dry desert, or like a barren field. But a dry desert to some is like a bountiful paradise to others. And the field isn't barren, it's just left fallow. And that's something you have to do. You have to let a field rest. Otherwise it can't keep producing. So yeah, okay. What I'm getting from this 3-card spread is like, Spirit's going to help you bring magic to this desert. Like they're going to help it bloom. They will bring the rains, but they need you to notice the little blessings that are peeking up out of the soil. You might just see, like, you know, those little Johnny jump ups, I grew up calling them. Are they a kind of pansy? I'm not sure, but they just kind of spring up, and they're these little flowers, and they're crazy colors. They're very pretty, but I'm not sure that anyone grows them on purpose. I think they might be technically a weed, depending on who you ask. So these tiny little flowers that you could overlook, that are springing up. A past version of you, let's say now, might have seen them and gone, I can't eat that. I can't do, like I can't do anything with that, Sam. That does nothing for me, Spirit. But you know, they didn't send the flowers so that you could eat them necessarily. They sent the flowers so that, as a sign of hope, to try and shift your attitude to notice, to one of gratitude, to notice these little blessings, because that will snowball. And this little act of gratitude, what I'm getting is like, that's noticing these boons, these little things, the little wins, little pleasures, small things to be grateful for, even in an otherwise barren field. Like, that's all spirit needs, because they can fan that little ember into a big fire. I'm mixing my metaphors here, but that's what's going to help this desert to bloom. Yeah, a lot of mixed metaphors there. That's okay. There was something else I was going to say about this, but it escapes me at the moment. So we're going to move on. Then we got Mercury and the Mystic Cross. I feel like there's a messenger coming in. I feel like by you choosing this path, it allows this messenger to come in. You know, this one of gratitude, of like a mustard seed of faith, and a belief that in spite of the odds, spirit has your back, and things are going to turn around or improve. This mustard seed of faith, this gratitude, is what allows this messenger from the gods. That's what Hermes Mercury is. Like, he's a messenger from spirit to bring you some sort of, I mean, what I'm getting is a divinatory message. Like, the pendulum is a form of divination. So I think it's about allowing yourself to receive this message, this information, when a past version of you would have dismissed it out of hand, or wouldn't have faith or belief in magic, in the universe, in spirit enough to even allow themselves to believe that the message was for them. Because that's an act of hope, and you might have been disappointed so many times. But just remember that we have to change our internal very often before the external starts to change in our favor. We need to send the universe a big message that we're done with that. Any remaining lessons we would like to learn quickly and easily. From now on, our life is going to be 180 degrees different, and please show me what needs to go and help me release it in divine timing and for my highest good. That's a little prayer, a little mantra, a little affirmation, a little request. But those are magic words, because when you choose that path, everything can change for you when you do it wholeheartedly. So yeah, messenger with a divinatory message. I mean, I love that. That's my bag. Okay. Yeah, okay, we're going to get into some tarot. I got the 78 Tarot Astral deck here. If you guys haven't heard of this Andi, is it a company? Yeah, I suppose it's an Andi tarot deck company, but they do these like limited runs on decks with multiple artists on each deck, is what I've encountered in the past. And they're a little bit more expensive, but they're not mass produced, and you know, it supports these artists. Really cool decks. especially if you like to read intuitively, because, as you can see, very different from the normal, not normal, the typically used Rider-Waite, Smith-Waite. No shade on the Smith-Waite. Just sometimes it's helpful to have some more out-of-the-box imagery in cards, because it can draw in messages that you wouldn't normally associate with the archetypes in the Smith-Waite. Four of Cups. This is perfect. I mean, this is a perfect illustration of the situation. I see this little alien fella as spirit, or the messengers that they send, however small. And this is you. You've just been through a lot, right? You're like, why? What's the point of taking this fourth cup, spirit? It's just going to be like all the other cups. They didn't do anything for me, right? But just remember, you can choose, and Spirit is waiting for you to make this choice. You can choose to learn something significant from each of the other cups. Even if they were filled with just like the nastiest liquid. You're like, why would any kind universe give this to me? Some of us choose a life of pretty extreme contrast, and you might have gone through the worst so that you can appreciate the best. And it might only be this change in attitude, this decision, which is easier said than done. I know, I've been there. But this might be the difference maker. Like, you have to believe that this fourth cup can be the one that changes everything. And that in accepting it, you can help to facilitate that change. When I did the whole, like, no, none of this is ever going to happen to me again, like, I choose a completely different life thing, I wasn't very in touch with Spirit. Or not consciously, right? So to my way of thinking, I was very much on my own, and I was just going to like, it was just going to be the power of my own mind by which I did this. And it would have been a lot easier for me to have known about everything I know now, and to have incorporated Spirit, leaned on Spirit. So if you're not at that point yet, meet Spirit halfway by making this assertion to yourself and to the universe that you choose for things to be different in your life now going forward. Just because something has been a pattern in the past does not mean it has to be a pattern going forward, and that you are going to do everything within your mental power to ensure that it doesn't. Not everyone can do this. Some people are in, everyone can, technically everyone can. Spirit's like leaning on me a little bit to say, like, you always have a choice. However, some people are in very desperate and dire circumstances. What I'm getting from this, though, and I'm having it confirmed, is you can do this. All right. I think it was just the one card. Yeah, that was just summation. Summary of that message. Confirmation. on my end. No? Okay, yeah, we're going straight into advice. Recently, my guidance has been to grab like there will be more tarot decks than I need really for a reading. Like each of these oracle decks brings something a little bit different. But I technically only need one tarot to tell like a more in-depth story with the archetypes. And recently I've been guided to grab 2 or 3 for one reading. And I go into it and I'm like, okay, I don't know how this is going to work out. You know? And then over the course of the reading, it's like, we live in a probabilistic universe. I have free will. I could get distracted. Spirit's like, there's a 90% chance he delivers this message correctly, but just in case, he should grab that other tarot deck. Because if he draws a blank on this, you know, we got him with the other deck. So I don't know if that's actually it, but I just find it funny. All right, guys, what we got for you? Ooh, yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Harry, Ron, and Hermione in the Devil's Snare Plant. So this card encourages you to relax into an uncomfortable situation, which is counterintuitive advice. I feel someone just like, you know, in the cartoons when smoke or steam comes out of a character's ears because they're like very frustrated. Hear me out. So this is an energy thing, as within, so without. It's also a choosing to live better thing, as we've discussed already in this reading. So keep in mind, whatever situation you're in right now, if you tense up, if you get stressed, or you indulge your own suffering, you risk having the life squeezed out of you. This is a turning point, and it can be a turning point for the better or for the worse. When you're in the devil's snare plant, struggling only makes it constrict harder. It's like a quicksand situation. If you relax, it lets go of you and you sink out of it, like you sink through and out of it. There's also a little bit of like the only way out is through, right? You can't, like, once you're in the devil's snare plant, the only way out is through, and you can choose to suffer, or you can choose to surrender, allow, accept, relax, sink in, and through. This card encourages calm optimism and faith in yourself and your divine support. That's the best way through. I know often when I feel like I'm in a bind, I start to ask for help out of desperation. If I ask for help at all, right? Like pray out of desperation is what I'm saying. Like, you guys have to help me out. Like I need help. Like all of these like these phrases that, when reflected on from a higher vantage point, which we cannot always do at the time, very rarely, but when viewed from a certain angle, exhibit a lack mindset, right? Like it's this feeling that you are unsafe, feeling that something is missing, feeling that you have an unmet need, when in the eyes of spirit, all needs are met. You just have to find that, kingdom of heaven within, right? I'm getting frustrated with my own advice. Trust me, this is hard for humans to do. All right, this is it's sound advice, but it doesn't make it easy. Like, it's simple advice, but it's not easy. So the advice here, if you find yourself praying or requesting help from a place of desperation, remember that it's all the same thing, right? This is all part of what you're trying to do a 180 on, or what you may choose to do a 180 on. And pray instead from a sense of gratitude and joy, instead of, the angel numbers were nice, Spirit, but it doesn't help me. Say, hey, Spirit, I noticed the angel numbers you sent me today, and that was really magical. I asked to live a life with even more divine magic. I asked to live a life that delights me in every second. I asked to have my attention pointed towards the magic and the good in my life. And I asked for this to snowball into better and better things for me, for my highest good. And the highest good of all. I like to throw that in. That is messaging that Spirit understands, because that makes sense from their perspective. Okay. Anything else? No, we're doing a lot of like one and done advice recently. I dig it. All right, guys. This is easier said than done. It is simpler than it is easy. But you've got this. Like, I'd be pulling more cards if you needed anything else. It's just a mindset thing. It's a shift that you can make. You have the power to do this, despite how powerless you have felt in the past to your circumstances. You can change your life for the better. And I feel like you will. Yeah. You will. No, I'm getting really emotional. You definitely will. You're going to have a beautiful, fruitful life. And you deserve it. All right, take care, guys. I'll see you in the next reading.